Welcome to NYCU EMI support video series for non-native English university students in Taiwan. I'm Tiffany. In this video, we'll explore how to make short academic discussions to clearly express and support your opinions. We'll start with types of academic discussions, then quickly review the structure of academics and how it relates to academic discussions. We'll then talk about details of academic discussions, following practical examples of how these structures apply. Let's get started. When would you be expected to write just one body? It could be as short as 50 words to 150 words. It usually takes only 5 to 10 minutes to write. Here are some tasks that follow this structure. First, we have discussion board posts. The teacher will post a discussion topic on an online system, and students need to write and post their ideas about it underneath. This is a great way to interact with both the teacher and other classmates and encourages critical thinking on the material. Since everyone can read your post, it's important to show that you understand the topic and write it in a clear structure with details to back up your ideas. These posts are not social media comments, so you do need to write formally. A good example of this task is the 2023 updated version of TOEFL IBT. They changed the long independent writing essay to this shorter academic discussion task. Now let's talk about speaking responses. Sometimes in class, you need to verbally express ideas. This is not like casual conversations because usually you'll have some time you're expected to fill. For example, in a class discussion, you may need to organize and speak about your ideas in front of the class for 1 minute. Or after a presentation, you have a Q&A session where you need to answer questions about your topic. Other examples are debate, storytelling, self-introductions, and so on. The TOEFL independent speaking tasks are examples of this kind of response. Then there's formal emails. Emails are a great way to start discussions. You may be trying to give information or get information. When you're writing to a friend, you probably don't need to worry about formality, but if you're writing for a professional purpose, you do want to have some clear structure to organize your content. Now let's briefly review the structure of academics. You have an introduction, some bodies, and a conclusion. In discussions, you're basically just doing one body. It includes a topic sentence, following supporting details, and since you no longer have a conclusion, you can add a concluding sentence, which is one sentence signaling the end. Now let's look at some details. For the topic sentence, you want to mention the topic and the controlling idea. What is the topic? It's what you choose as the answer. What is a controlling idea? It's a preview of the reasons or how many reasons you will give. For supporting details, you want to elaborate your reasons with details, evidence, data, analysis, and explanations. Think about the answers to who, what, where, when, why, how. The more specific details you give, the better the response is. Just saying, because I like it, is not enough. You should add why you like it. At the end, you add one more sentence signaling the end, the concluding sentence. And don't forget to add transitions to smooth everything out. Now let's look at an example and how this structure applies. There are a lot of free resources provided by ETS. Scroll to the bottom and you'll see a lot of academic discussion practice questions. Let's do question 1 together as an example. So when you go in, you'll see the discussion topic, following 2 classmate responses, and a space for you to type up your response. There's a counter on the top right corner, and you have 10 minutes to read, plan, and type your response. Let's see what the question is. Your professor is teaching a class on sociology. You need to write a post responding to the professor's question. It needs to be at least 100 words, so let's read the question real quick. Let's think about population trends in urban and rural areas. Living in urban areas can be expensive. Nonetheless, when they have a choice of where to live, people in some countries do not wish to live in rural areas, even if the cost of living there is lower. If governments of some countries want to attract more people to live in rural areas or villages, what is the best strategy or approach that governments can use? Why? So as you can see here, the last part is the most important, which is the question. Let me read it again. If governments of some countries want to attract more people to live in rural areas or villages, what is the best strategy or approach that governments can use? Why? Okay, so now let's do the writing, and I'll also explain the structure of the sentences. We're going to start by writing a topic sentence. As we mentioned before, in the topic sentence, you should state the topic, which is your personal opinion of living in a rural area. And of course, following the topic, you're going to have some controlling ideas. So here we have, I currently live in an urban city and would consider moving to a rural area if the government improved two conditions. And the two conditions, which is the controlling idea, is convenience and education. After that, you see the first controlling idea, which is convenience. When it comes to convenience, the area should have a wide range of shops and food options. For example, in the city, I can have Italian pasta, sushi, and tacos. This variety is not available in rural areas. By the way, in TOEFL, you can't really Google anything, so everything is based on experience. So really just think about your experience and then try to write it out clearly. So then we move on to the second controlling idea, which is about education. So second is education. Urban areas have educational resources such as public and private schools, libraries, and after-school programs. And of course, following that, oh, there's a typo there. Following that, we have the example. And I think here, at the time when I was writing, I was trying to pretend to be a student. So I wrote, I actually joined a TOEFL after-school program in my area to enhance my English skill. So because of the word count constraint, you got to move on to the concluding sentence. If the government improves these two conditions, I may consider moving to a rural area. So this is kind of like a, making the end. So it's a total word count of 111 words. Now you can probably also see from the timer that I still have about 4 more minutes left. So, in a real test, you would spend more time to kind of like edit it. But, this is just an example. So we're just going to send it out. And after you send it out, you're going to see a AI generated score. And here we get 4.0, which is not bad. So that's it. Let's quickly review. An academic discussion is a short body paragraph that has a topic sentence, supporting details, and a concluding sentence. In the quiz practice, you're going to see even more examples of practical tasks and how they apply this structure. See you next time.